Hi everyone, it's Simon Keeling here on Friday the 16th of October. Thanks for watching. This is your look ahead video here at WeatherWeb. And if you'd like us to send you an email when the videos are updated, just send us a blank email to generalweather-subscribe@weatherweb.net. There's the address on the screen right now. Now, the Japanese Met Agency have certainly been busy over the last few days. Yesterday's forecast, we looked at their updated outlook for the rest of the month going into the first half of November. And they've also released the update of their 3-month forecast too. So this covers the period from November through to January 2016. And showing some interesting things actually. This is their prediction for November now, compared to what we've seen in December with the ridge built through northern parts of Europe. This is quite a change, showing us with a lower than normal heights across the country, a strong westerly flow here. Ridge off towards the east across northern parts of Russia, further ridge across the States here. So we're getting this sort of pattern established in the flow. That would support the idea of low pressure areas being able to get across in the Atlantic, swing their way northeastwards across the UK, bringing unsettled and wet conditions. But probably conditions tending to be near to below normal in terms of temperature. So this idea of the cooler hit at some point in November, probably towards the first half to middle part of the month that I was telling you about early on in the week, that's been picked up by the CFS, is certainly one that's tracking potentially with the JMA through November. Of course, what you've got to remember is that these models are heavily influenced by, I don't know why I moved that around, I actually wanted to move this around, are heavily influenced by the impact of the El Nino and the event that's taking place right now. That's what I wanted to do, to show you the 850s here. This is the prediction of the 850 anomalies, and you notice that they are showing up as being below normal across the UK, which is kind of strengthening these ideas of the jet actually tending to be a little bit further south than it normally would. So really trying to go with November being a windy and a wet and pretty cool month. So does that increase the prospects for early season snow? Probably. December shaping up like this. This is the mean of the 500 millibars. And quite a blocked out pattern across northern parts of the States. We've got a ridge in here. We've got a trough down here. This kind of lends itself into this sort of pattern across the States. Trough through the UK, weak ridge off towards the east, but again, look, the jet screaming in across the Atlantic with lower than normal heights across the UK. I have to say, this one is a cold pattern for December, because the flow, the surface flow through December would hint at there being generally a northerly flow coming down through the UK, something like that, low pressure areas tracking through here. So what they would tend to do is, yes, bring some heavy periods of rain, particularly across more southern areas, but drag in colder air to the north, increasing the chance of Scotland, of Northern Ireland, of Northern England being in that colder air more frequently, and bringing the risk there that we could find some rain readily turning to snow at times. And you wouldn't rule out the possibility of snow bands further south as rain clears its way towards the south. Certainly, once again, that's a fairly cold looking pattern. Now let me try and just drag the image down. There we are, we've done it better this time. That's the 850s, and again showing in as temperatures below normal or below average for the 850s. It's not dramatic, admittedly, but I think what we're going to be finding is this kind of wavering between milder bursts of air coming through and then cold air being dragged in behind, and the result of the 850 probably is that we do get cooler than normal conditions. And the other thing to note December as well is the sea level pressure anomalies. So this is whether we're higher or lower than normal. This is showing us yellow as higher than average pressures, blue lower than average pressures, and just look at that across the UK. It shows how low the pressure is. So shaping up again for an unsettled, cool December. Well, that's as far as the JMA is concerned. January looking like this. Still got the ridge built across the northern states here. Or higher than normal heights built across normal states, across the northern states, builds a ridge in like this, gets the jet down across the UK again. But what to notice on this one is that the higher than normal heights are still up towards the north, so tending towards higher pressure, kind of in a band up here. What that does is it brings us a flow that allows the jet to get further south through the UK, something like this. The southern half of the UK, again, on the warm side of the lows, the northern side of the UK on the cool side or colder side of the low. So again, this focus for Scotland, Northern Ireland, possibly parts of Northern England have quite a rough period here with frequent snow at times, but actually staying milder to the south. But I think the main feature here is going to be the contrast between the warmer air to the south, cooler air to the north, generating strong winds, some pretty severe storm systems, and some pretty heavy spells of rain. So wet is certainly the theme, and windy at times as we go through the coming months. And let's just show you the 850s from January. There we are. Near normal temperatures across the UK. Pressure's looking something like this, well down below normal across much of the Atlantic here, above normal up towards the north, which is exactly what you expect to see with that pattern of high pressure north, of low pressure south. But it lines up to be an interesting one across the UK, just simply because of this battleground there seems to be between the warm and the cold air. And the JMA falling in line with our winter ideas, which have gone out to private clients, and they're still being acted on, but I hope to get those out to you during the early part of next week. So this is how the JMA see things November through to January, and certainly does bring in this idea of lower than normal heights across the UK. We've got this strengthening jet going through as well, the higher than normal heights towards the north, lower than normal, as I say, UK, and the UK really being in that battleground. As far as the temperatures go, at 850 millibars, overall looking cooler than normal. Pressure, though, look at that, well down across the UK. That indicates we're in for certainly quite a wet and a windy one. Temperatures are going to be the main factor, though, because it's an either or setup. It's either going to be cold or it's going to be warm, and there ain't going to be much in between. And I think we'll find distinct periods of cold and warm through the course of the winter months. Now, I know that for some of those who use these forecasts in exactly the same way that they use TV forecasts, they'll say, oh, well, what a load of waffle that was. What do you mean an either or winter, either cold or warm? Well, listen to what I'm saying. I'm saying that there's not going to be anything in the middle. It's either going to be cold or it's going to be mild, and it depends across the UK exactly where you are as to what those conditions are going to be like. It's important, and I know that sort of 99.9% of you know how to use these forecasts. There are others who do enjoy kind of jumping up and down all over medium to longer range predictions. Say, for example, it's impossible, say it can't be done. Well, actually, it can be done. You just need to use the guidance and forecasts in a slightly different way, and you need to listen to the intonation that's given during these videos, and also act on whether there's consistency in those ideas anyway. If there isn't, then competence is low. If there is, then confidence is generally a little bit higher. But I guess just some people like to moan, don't they? It makes them feel important for that brief, short moment of their lives. Anyway, I'm going to leave you with that for now. But whatever you're doing, thanks again for watching. Keep the sun shining, and bye for now.